Hi, my name is Kazik Pogoda and I'm the CTO of Semantic. Tonight I would like to present you Golem 14, our metacognitive autonomous AI agent. What is metacognition, you might ask? In the philosophy of mind, it's defined as ability to think about own thinking, regardless of what kind of substrate provides this ability. It might be biology, it might be silicon. So this way we are not really bound into metaphysical terms like consciousness. Cognition is just the reasoning which can be described in the processual terms. Before we go on, I wanted to show you the memory of Golem, what's currently stored there. We are using Neo4j for the knowledge graph storage. So right now, the only information there is this single epistemic agent node AI self. And let's see what will emerge after a while. So you know probably that we shouldn't ask LLMs for calculations, because unless they are equipped with a calculator, they might make mistakes the same way we are making mistakes. So in this particular case, I will ask it, what's Fibonacci number 42? So this, it's not easy to solve through pure reasoning because it's a recursive process. And in order to solve it, Golem is doing something special. It's writing in own programming language, which we call Golem script. It's derived from Kotlin script. What's the function to calculate the Fibonacci number and also how to return the result. So this is the answer Golem is getting, and then the final answer it is returning to us. So this was a very simple process. And we can check what was unfolded in the memory now, because it's slightly different. Okay, so we still have epistemic agent here, self, but we also have epistemic agent human. This is me. This is the person who asked this question. If there are more users, they will be represented differently here. And we also have epistemic agent computer. So this is one of those key reframings when it comes to Golem's ontology in comparison to communication theory ontology used by major LLMs those days. So then we also have cognition. Instead of communication process and dialogue, we have something which is representing a reasoning process. It also has constitution, which is like a system prompt defining what Golem can do within this cognitive process. So then we have phenomenal expression, which is grouping expression of a particular epistemic agent. In this case, mine. This was my question. What's Fibonacci number 42? So what happened here next is, maybe I'll try to somehow untangle this a bit. Oh, maybe that's better. Okay. So what happened here is that Golem answered to this initial prompt. So this is the second expression in this process. Oh, sorry. No. This was the last one. So here we have this expression, which was the second one. And this was the textual information for the user, what's going to happen, but then intent. So this is defining how AI wants to impact our environment. In this case, my computer is this code fragment. There's also purpose specified, and then fulfillment is actually the answer it got from executing this code. And then the very last step is the expression from the LLM itself, creator here, creator here, creator here, creator here. So the last one was returning the final answer. So let's try with something more complex. For example, can you tell me more about all the programs run by German Sprinty and memorize them? Okay, let's see. So this is from the training data. Golem knew what Sprinty is, and then it is trying to go through the website. We are piping through Gina.ai for the easy markdown output. Right now we are working on our own infrastructure for very high performant semantic streams for transforming this information. So this is what goes back as a document answering the initial crawling. So we have subsequent crawling. Here Golem made a syntax error, and this is a very interesting feature that the error happened in the compilation phase because this is a script, but the script is statically typed and compiled, so we can check all the syntax errors before execution. And then it corrected itself. It fixed this error, which was basically lack of this import. So once we have the answer, we have much more information here, even more queries. So here we have projects. All this data is going back to Golem. Okay, so here we have the first step of actually establishing title and summary of this cognitive process. And then Golem is checking if it already has anything about Sprinty in the memory. And the answer is null. So now, and here is the power of our specialized programming language, it is in the smallest possible form expressing everything to be memorized. So we have a node, we have properties of this node. All those terms and categories are chosen according to schema.org, and this allows us to avoid ambiguity in the way knowledge is constructed. So we have values, core values of Sprinty, Funke, relationships. So this is how connections are being crafted. As you can see, it's as easy to eat for machines as it is for humans. It is designed for this human in the loop. If any cognitive process needs to be audited, this is how we can do it. Of course, majority of those processes will be happening autonomously, so no one would be involved in checking those unless there is a need to verify why something failed. This is evaluation tool. So we have even more data being now crawled. Okay, memorize 3 strategic facts, memorize 9 key Sprinty projects. So now we have a summary what Golem actually did. So I think it's pretty accurate. I haven't seen any hallucination in such a process in the span of the last 9 months, I would say. And it looks good to me. This is just a summary, but I guess looking at the memory in this moment will be much more interesting. So what do we have here? We have the second cognitive process, which was resolved by the same computer, but now the fulfillment after all the scraping. So this was scraping. We can see that it's gathering the information. But then this fulfillment, those two, they were actually creating facts. So they were creating both the nodes and the relationships between them, and this is how it is expressed here. So we have Sprint D, German agency financing groundbreaking technologies, of course, that's true, city. And then we also have split into challenges, focus areas, and operates in relationships. So this is how this knowledge extracted is represented visually. And this is a tool typically used by data scientists, which would write complex so-called cipher queries to research this data. You can imagine that this might be any scientific data, for example, genetic data with very complex relationships and queries to traverse such a complex graph. It might be any data points from the industrial process with an optimization attempts. The thing is that as human data scientists, writing those queries here is pretty tedious. So we have an LLM which actually loves it. So we can ask questions like, maybe what do you know about Sprint D? So to prevent it from looking on the over the internet, we can say check memory, because otherwise it might decide to go to the internet again. So here it's trying to gather this information again. It's writing again queries, transformations. Again, we have today's anthropic problem. So let's see how it unfolds. Of course, this is syntax error produced by Claude. And of course, it produced syntax error. So there is another attempt to fix it. And I hope this time Anthropic API will be better at answering this query. No, it made another error. So, but finally it was able, those problems, those are today's problems connected with Anthropic API. I think this is connected with their fresh release and the fact that they are executing much more things in a kind of containers which are not connected to each other. Many people were reporting problems today. But what happened at the end is that it finally created this query and data formatting without syntax errors. It returned a summary to itself and then described what's happening here. It's putting system prompt again. But then, the content of the website, which is actually stored, which is good. So basically it concatenated everything it downloaded before, because it's also part of the reasoning process. And let's see what will be the final summary of this data. Lots of errors. Based on memory search, I have comprehensive information. Founded 2019. Sprinty challenges, multi-stage competitions, Sprinty Funke, anti-drone. All the details are here. So this time it didn't use the internet to answer this question. It actually used the memory because of the obstacles we had on the way. It was using much more resources than it should. But in this particular case, this is Anthropic's problem, which is then translating to problem of all the clients of Anthropic. If you use Claude today, probably you have noticed how unstable it is. So let's maybe wrap it up. Oh, I think I can do one more thing, because Golem can also create any software. So if I would ask it now, please retrieve sprint the data from your memory and create a website about it. It should be in cyberpunk style. Create it in TMP, sprint the HTML and open in my browser. So let's see what will happen here. We have again query in the memory to retrieve sprint the data. So now this is much more what we usually intend. Very well formatted information about the details which can be retrieved. So it's creating actually a domain model to receive this information and then print it in a pretty form. And all the projects, themes. So now it's writing HTML as a final report. And yeah, it can be a mobile app, it can be any kind of software. Technically, there are no differences between this coding agent and other coding agents, because at the end of the day, the reasoning comes from the LLM, and environment harness is even easier than in other agents, thanks to our own zero-tool programming language. Okay, it's still outputting. We have to wait a bit more. Okay, open sprint in the browser. And here we have it. Bundesagentur, Federal Agency, operational, location. Everything is there. Yeah, so Golem can be also lovable if we want it to be, but it's much more useful for scientific research than producing user interfaces which are disposable, because in the internet of tomorrow, agents will use the internet, not users looking at pretty interfaces. Okay, I think I'll wrap this up. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and ciao. Bye.